2 high school kids go missing in broad daylight. Hundreds of witnesses, everyone sees them leave. How is that possible, you ask? They flew off in a flying car. State your name for the record. Special Agent Phil Boxley, FBI. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah, look, I'll tell you guys everything I know. Problem is, you're not going to believe a single word of it. I just finished up the mail fraud case in Valencia, and I called into headquarters to check in. They said, hold for Director Hoover. I'd never spoken with the man before, but sure enough, J. Edgar gets on the line, and he says, are you still in L.A.? Good, stay there. 3 individuals just showed their posteriors on national television. Apparently, Rydell High School had been selected to appear on National Bandstand, and in the middle of a spotlight dance set to the Marcel's Blue Moon, 3 unknown persons dropped trout and turned the other cheek. It was a nationwide mooning, and the principal of the high school, a Mrs. McGee, contacted Washington about it. J. Edgar told me, get your ass to Rydell High School and investigate those asses. When I arrived at Rydell, immediately I knew things were off. First off, every student appeared to be at least 23 years old. At least. Like, I know what a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid looks like, and some of these kids look like they could have fought alongside me at Guadalcanal. I went up to the oldest-looking woman I could find and I said, excuse me, ma'am, where's the main office? And she goes, ma'am, the name's Rizzo, pal. I'm a senior, and me and the pink ladies ruled the school. A senior citizen? She slapped me hard across the face, but I couldn't arrest her for assaulting a federal agent. I couldn't tip anyone off that the feds were here. Turns out Rydell was a hotbed of illegal gang activity. The Pink Ladies were a female gang run by this Betty Rizzo, with consigliere Marty Maraschino and capos Frenchie and Jan. But the top gang at Rydell were clearly the T-Birds, led by one Daniel ZUKO, a greaser with a penchant for saying, oh my gosh. Second in command was Kaniki Murdoch, a gearhead who I figured had to be at least 30, 35 years old. Under him were 3 low-level enforcers, Sonny, Duty, and Putsy. They seemed like likely suspects for the on-camera mooning, but I couldn't bet my ass on those asses, so I had to dig deeper. So instead, I decided to infiltrate the school and enroll as a student. It was really easy. I just went to the office, filled out one form, no questions, no transcripts, and just like that, I was a 40-year-old undercover high school student. Turns out the mooning was just the tip of the iceberg. The T-Birds were running an illegal stolen car parts ring. Fenders, carburetors, you name it. But they hadn't fenced their goods yet. They were putting all of it into a 1948 Ford Deluxe convertible to create Greased Lightning, a car capable of delivering a woman to sexual climax. The idea was preposterous. I mean, the female orgasm is a myth, right, fellas? Anyways, Kaniki was obsessed with getting his car into race condition to compete at Thunder Road, while leader Danny ZUKO was obsessed with a new transfer student, Sandy Olson. Sandy had just moved from Australia. So, this gang is now associating with foreign actors. And maybe these Australians don't believe in the American way of life. I needed to find out more, so I arranged a secret meeting at the school with the leader of the Pink Ladies, Rizzo. We were supposed to meet at 2 in the afternoon, but she showed up at 4. I said, you're late. She said, oh yeah? Who told you? I was like, no, you don't understand. You're late. She said, okay, fine, yeah, I'm pregnant. Big whoop. So what's it to you, pal? I said, no. I've been waiting for you here for 2 hours. And also, should a woman your age even be having children? She slammed me up against the lockers and said, listen, asshole, I've been working this case for 4 years. Do not blow my cover. Turns out Rizzo is DEA. She's been working an illegal drug ring out of Rydell High. Seems they're recruiting students to drop out and attend a local beauty school. But it's actually a front for meth hidden in hair dye. Goddamn stuff so strong turns your hair purple and makes you think you're seeing Frankie Avalon. Frenchie was Rizzo's criminal informant, feeding her information from the inside. I said, Jesus Christ, lady, you're a federal agent and you got knocked up by a high school kid? She goes, relax, Kaniki is ATF. Yeah, he's also a federal agent working an undercover case at Rydell. He's been looking into the stolen car parts and their connection to lugging boxes at Bargain City. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm the 3rd federal agent at this school? Rizzo goes, ha, get in line, pal. Marty Maraschino, she's NCIS Special Victims Unit investigating a military pervert ring when she stumbled onto the Vince Montaigne case. Duty, Boston PD. He's been undercover tracking Sonny Lantieri to get close to his mob-connected father. Patty Simcox, Secret Service Treasury Division. Tom Chisholm, Central Intelligence. Richard Grieco, 21 Jump Street. Turns out half the student body at Rydell were undercover law enforcement officers. I told Rizzo, you stay out of my investigation. I'm taking down the T-Birds. This is my collar, so you don't blow my cover. She kicked me in the balls and said, there are worse things I could do. But my investigation into the mooning was going nowhere until I finally got a break. The T-Birds finished Greased Lightning and were ready to race it down at Thunder Road against another rival gang, the Scorpions, who operated out of the local Catholic school, St. Bernadette's. The Scorpions were clearly well financed, their car was outfitted with defensive weapons and tail flames, none of which are actually street legal. Their leader was one Leo Craterface Balmudo, who I assumed was another undercover agent, because you can only get a face like that by chain smoking for 30 years, but it turns out he just had really unfortunate genetics. Second in command was one Charlene Cha-Cha Di Gregorio, a girl known for her dancing and reputation. Kaniki was slated to race. Jesus Christ, a federal agent is going to take part in a Thunder Road race? But then he had a little accident, and Danny ZUKO conveniently had to fill in. They were racing for pinks, which honestly, how does that even work? You're really staking ownership in a car based on the results of one street race? What, you have the car title with you and you're gonna just sign that over if you lose? The full value of a car? You're gonna go file it at the DMV if you win? Have you even set up car insurance? Because once you take ownership of that car, you cannot drive it without insurance. Anyways, before the race started, Craterface Balmudo boldly declared, "Rules are, there ain't no rules."
So who won the race?
A third gang operating out of the east side of Los Angeles, only known as Family, led by one Dominic Toretto, a street tough whose gang had made a name for itself hijacking trucks full of DVD players, whatever the hell those are. But it turns out Toretto is now also working for the good guys through a shadowy government organization led by a mysterious Mr. Nobody. Jesus Christ, how far up does this thing go? Toretto won the race while yelling out the window, "This is how I invented race wars," while driving a 1970 Dodge Charger, a car that hasn't even been invented yet. It's only 1959. He said something about Tej and Roman screwing around with the time circuits and Dom got sent back too early to kill baby Jason Momoa. I couldn't really follow the story, it was all coming at me just so fast and furious. But then of course came time for the spring carnival, for all the graduating seniors. It was interesting because Danny clearly was trying to get out of the life, but just when he thought he was out, that Australian Sandy pulled him right back in. Between the end of the Thunder Road race and the Spring Carnival, apparently the Greased Lightning car had been repaired, repainted, and well, clearly some other modifications too. A red paint job, a see-through hood, which, I mean, come on, it's going to be covered with grime after the first 10 miles. But what really stood out was when Danny and Sandy got in and the car took off and accelerated into the sky. Where did Danny and Sandy go? How did that even happen? I called Ford, GM, every car maker in Europe. None of them are working on a flying car, let alone a convertible. I call up Howard Hughes, it's not his. I call up Boeing, it's not theirs. Somebody made a red flying car.
You're thinking the Soviets?
That's what I thought at first, but communism was just a red herring. The real answer wasn't mechanical. It was supernatural. Turns out Danny ZUKO is in fact the Archangel Michael. I mean, literally the biblical Archangel Michael. But it also turns out that Sandy Olson was in fact Kira, daughter of Zeus and one of the 9 muses. She wasn't Australian at all. She was Greek, but she also possessed the magical powers of the gods. She had last been seen opening up a roller disco in West Hollywood called Xanadu. You ever been to Xanadu? That place makes no sense. So in the end, I was able to conclude that the car itself didn't fly, but either Danny, Sandy, or both of them made it fly, but we'll never know who.
So, if Danny was an angel and Kaniki was a Fed, who was really leading the T-Birds at Rydell?
Well, Duty was undercover and it couldn't have been Sonny or Putsy. They didn't have the brains for it. The only other person at Thunder Road was...
Hey, Miss Murdoch, you coming?
I don't expect my boys to let me down, and I won't let them down.
Where you going, Murdoch?
Second in command was Kaniki Murdoch.
Oh, you can't drive. Call ass, kid. I don't expect my boys to let me down. My boys.
Oh my god. It was Kaniki's mom the whole time. Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching the Grease episode of Minor Character Theater. Fun fact, no toy company makes a 1/64 version of the Scorpions car. I had to buy a lime green 49 Merc and hand paint all the little flames on it. I think I did an okay job. Anyways, big shout out to our latest Major Minor members. We got a bunch to shout out. So big shout out to Chris Searcy, Jeff K, Rob P, Miles Burris, Chris Kennard, Granicus II, Dude Bailey, and Dave Scarlatella. So thanks a lot there. Also, shout out to the Above the Law blog, who wrote a little article about the Willy Wonka episode. And an even bigger shout out to the Cake Eaters podcast, who were nice enough to invite me on to discuss the Mighty Ducks trilogy and my spoof of it. Anyways, stay tuned. We got more coming up. That's it. Talk to you soon.